Okay, today we're going to be talking about the percent proportion. So when we do a percent proportion, we're going to set up the part over the whole and set it equal to the percent over 100. This is known as the percent proportion formula or an equation for a proportion. So we're going to look at a problem. We're going to try to set it up using this formula. So the problem says 40% of the SMS band students are boys. If there are 130 students in band, how many are boys? So we're going to start by setting up a generic proportion. Okay, and we know that we see the number 40% and 130 students. So we have to figure out what represents what. Well, I know that this should be the part, and this should be the whole. This should be the percent, and I'm going to put that over the number 100. So the first number I see is 40%. So I'm going to put 40% over 100. Now 40% represents 40% of the SMS students are boys. So 40% is 40 boys out of 100, which would make 100 the total. So if there are 130 students in a band, how many are boys? Since the question is asking how many are boys, the boys is going to be our variable. That's going to be our question. We don't know how many boys there are. And 130 students is the total number in the band. So that's going to be our whole. Now, when we're dealing with proportions, there are several strategies that we could use. So let's just look at them and see if we can find one that's going to help us. We could draw a table, but we've already set it up in a proportion because we had this nifty little formula here to help us. So we don't need to draw a table. We could simplify, because remember these are fractions. There are two ratios that are equal to each other, but we wrote the ratios as a fraction, so we could simplify a fraction to help us. Or we could divide to find the rate of change. Well, here's my unknown, and if I'm trying to get from my known to my unknown, okay, we can go this way, which is 100 to 130. Well, I can't see an easy way to get the rate of change. So I'm going to try to simplify first. Because if I look at this percent, it's 40 out of 100. So I know that I can simplify, because 40 divided by 10 is 4, and 100 divided by 10 equals 10. Now from 10 to 130, it's a little bit easier to get there. So 10 times what is 130? 10 times 13 is 130. And what I do to the denominator, I have to do to the numerator. So 4 times 13 is going to give us the number of boys. 13 times 4 is 52. So that means my answer is 52 boys. Well, what if this question instead said how many are girls? So if there are 130 students in band, we've already figured out that there are 52 boys. How many are girls? Well, if there's 130 total, and we know that 52 of them are boys, what operation will we use to figure out how many are girls? That would be subtraction. 130 minus 52. And 10 minus 2, 8. So it will be 78 girls. So be careful what the question is asking you, because sometimes it will ask you a question different than your percent, and then you have an extra step. Okay, the next question is, out of 300 7th grade students, 126 made an A in math. What percent made A's in math? Well, this time we're going to set up the same generic proportion, and it's going to be the part over the whole equals the percent over 100. So 100 is the number that I know. I'm going to put that there. Okay, then it says out of 300 7th grade students, 126 made an A in math. So what percent made A's in math? Since the question says what percent, I know that this is going to be my variable. This is going to be X, because I want to know that information. So I have a part and a whole. So the part is asking me what percent made A's. So this one has to be made A's as our label. So how many made A's? Well, it says 126 made an A. Okay, and 100 is going to be the total. So out of 300, that sounds like 300 is the total. Now this time, when I look at my strategies, okay, I don't need to draw a table because I've set up my proportion. Simplifying, I don't even have to simplify because I can figure out what the rate of change is fairly easily here. So from 300 to 100, all I have to do is divide by 3. So that tells me that what I have to do to my numerator is divide by 3. So 126 divided by 3 equals 42. So x equals 42. So now I have to make sure I've answered the question. What percent made A's in math? 42% made A's in math. Okay, this is another question that I keep getting. I get the question, Ms. Brinkley, do I have to simplify? Well, these are fractions, yes, but since we're setting them up in a proportion, we're looking for either the numerator or the denominator of one of our fractions. So if we simplify, it would change our answer. We don't need to. We need to just take this. This is what we're looking for, is whatever number fits in this box. So we do not simplify here. Because if my denominator was anything except 100, it wouldn't be percent anymore. Okay, so I've got one for you to practice. So Sarah had a 20% off coupon for Kohl's. If she purchased $40 in shoes, what was her discount? So I'm going to help you set this one up, but I would like you to pause and set it up for yourself. Set up the generic. Okay, and then our formula is part over whole equals percent over 100. Then I have the percent, 20%. Where should that go? Now, what does that 20% represent? 20% is the amount off, 20% off. So that means that the part has to be the dollars off, okay, and the whole is the price of her shoes. I would like you to finish this proportion and include it in your whisk as one of your answers. What was her discount? So we're looking for her discount, and this should be included in your whisk. Answer this question for me, please. Okay, make sure you write it in a complete sentence. All right?